Okay, so this is obviously the bonnet section. Actually reasonably rigid considering it's got no bracing inside, and I've added a lump of plastic to stop it, the bonnet sliding forwards. It pushes against the part of the nose cone under deceleration, etc. It's obviously bolted together, same as what they suggest anyway if you were doing the alligator bonnet. I've had to trim part of the inside piece though to sit right. I actually made the mistake of I did start to do the holes for the to affix it to the nose cone before I changed my mind. So thankfully I've managed to get this piece of rubber U-shape, which I think looks reasonably good with the rest of it. So okay, starting at the nose cone. The nose cone doesn't match very well to the bonnet, so what I've done is create this former out of aluminium. So I'll just try and get a bit of angle on that. You can see it's just a simple hoop, but then I've added these cross bracings to prevent this from flexing out when I've screwed the nose cone down to it. I just started in the middle, worked around and gradually pulled these screws in to alter the shape. Normally I've got a piece of rubber that sits over here, but I've just had the nose cone off recently, so I've removed that, but I've got to put that back on. And I've used it obviously to hang other things, so I've got my overflow bottle there for the radiator, etc. So this is the pedal box and the bulkhead. I mean, I've worked out roughly where I wanted things to be, so I've got my electrics, the original Sierra fuse box in there, then my battery sitting there on its own box. All of this bulkhead made myself, and this tray as well. It's a bit difficult to explain in this without being able to see it, but basically what I've done, I've created this shaped bulkhead, which is about, I don't know, a centimetre lower than the actual surface, and on top of this, immediately going back towards the back of the car is a panel which is bolted to this piece and then bolted to the top rail up in there. So if you were to take this off, there would be still be a plate that runs from roughly here to somewhere over here, and what that means is that I can then I've then hung the mechanism for the windscreen wipers off that plate underneath with the spindles poking through. So if I was to remove this, I'd need to take the windscreen wipers off first for the to allow the spindles to go through this top panel, but the wipers then would stay in place on the under panel. It means that I don't have to put any bolt holes in here and keep a nice clean surface up here. This return in here, which is part of the original bonnet, goes through a slot that I've cut in that lower panel, and then I've just bolted it underneath that, so this piece here can't pull up because it's going through that lower panel. On the side, inside on that return lip, I've put some bolts down through into the chassis panel, so that's what holds the sides on, and then in the centre at the back I've just put two bolts down through into the chassis panel, into the chassis. The lower panel also holds not only the windscreen wipers but also the ventilation vents. So all I've done is put slits in the lower panel, and then it matches to these slits in this panel. You can just about see, I think, some foam just to guide the air up straight through in the correct place. Okay, so this is the pedal box area, made of stainless steel panel, obviously, to sit above it, which is just fixed down with 4 fixings in the corners. But removed, I can take that away. Show the pedal box area. So I've got reinforcing back to the chassis to hold the brake pedal, just to stiffen all that up. That's the original panel that supplied by Robin Hood in there, but I've kind of skinned it on the outside with a panel of my own making, just a thin sheet with a return on for the top of the panel to sit on. Again, another edge across the back for the back edge of the panel to sit on. You can just about see part of the bulkhead there coming down. What I didn't mention earlier, with it sitting a centimetre above, what I've done is I've had some thick rubber, so the top panel sits on a thick piece of rubber at the front edge to seal it, and then on the back it's held up partly by the dashboard, but also some more hidden padding underneath the back edge. On top of that under panel, which I mentioned, my dashboard, that's made from hardboard. It's covered in foam. I'm not sure you can just about see foam and leather cloth, and seems to be pretty rigid. You know, you can it's pretty good. What else? So hopefully that gives you a good idea of what's been done. For the windscreen, on the video they use ridiculously small self tappers, which I can't even believe they suggest you use. So what I've used is 6mm, can't see very well, 6mm hex bolts, and I drilled and tapped the frame before I put the glass in. Just make sure the bolts aren't sticking through to damage the glass, and that seems to work pretty well. Also got a water bottle sitting in here for the washers. A little bit rudimentary because it's just an old oil bottle, but it does the job, and very rarely need to use the water squirters anyway. Another thing I've done to hold the nose cone on at the front, you should just about to be able to see, I've made an angled bracket down there that bolts to the front chassis tube and down to the nose cone. That holds the lower edge of the nose cone, and also part of that bracket, I think you can just about see, then comes through and bolted to another bracket to hold my number plate on. I just like the way the number plate sits in that position, and surprisingly haven't had too many mishaps, even considering how low it is. I seem to get away with, I've actually, crazily enough, removed the fan cowling. I've just got a really thin frame I've made for it to sit on, and I seem to have no problems with cooling, so that was a bit of work to make that frame work for it to sit on. Again, there's brackets there, you can just see going up at an angle that hold the radiator on, again, that side. Going back to the windscreen, the other thing I should mention, I've made my own windscreen wiper arms. These are the original Sierra arms cut down to, you can just about see where I've cut them off there, and this is a part of a longer windscreen wiper that I've cut down, so that makes a reasonably nice short one, and I spent quite a while bending and adjusting it so they sit perfectly flat when they run. The other thing you can do when you, if you're using the original Sierra mechanism, like actually I think I used the Sierra, the Fiesta one, but it's very similar. You can adjust the leverage points so you make it move more or less. So my driver's side one runs to about there, whereas the passenger side one runs much further across the windscreen. I got a simple little water jet there that again drops down through that through this top of the scuttle and then through the secondary panel, and then again, as I mentioned, back to the water reservoir there. I used the original Sierra fan with one of the fan ends cut off, and the original matrix, which I managed to fit between down below this, along with the windscreen wiper mechanism. They even used the original Sierra fan switch. The other thing, in the passenger footwell, I created a small triangle piece covered in leather cloth just to matching with the dash and fill in that gap. And then it's a bit dark probably, but fill a panel up above, so everything's nice and neat, and just a piece of carpet in there covering the outside. Obviously left all my chassis tubes exposed, and same on the other side, and just run the carpet behind. So just pushed, took a bit of doing, but slid all the carpets in behind. Again, the central tunnel, leather cloth all the way down. So this is where I've run the heater pipes through. Just made a nice little stainless steel tube hole fix in there for the pipes to be held through, which, as I said, goes through into the heater matrix, which sits just on the top of the tunnel there. Just as an aside, I've added just a simple plumbing valve there, so that I can let air at the top of the tank if I need to, as it's the highest point. Okay, just to finish up, bonnet's obviously back on. Forgot to mention I just used simple black edging on the back edge there. It's got 6mm neoprene foam that sits on across the bottom edge, and it's got the standard SBA type clips there just to hold it down each side. As you can see, when I've got the rubber on the nose cone, you actually see less of a gap, but I think it's reasonable with that former as it is. The only addition I was going to make is under the centre here, on that former, I'm going to hang some kind of mechanism that, as I put the bonnet on, it'll have a piece of metal out the front with a hole in it, and then I'll be able to have a slider connected to the original Sierra column bonnet pull, just to lock the bonnet in the centre, so that if any of the front clasps come loose, it would still be held in the centre there, so you don't have the bonnet flying off at speed. And that's it.